Hey guys, welcome back. Hey guys, welcome back. Hey guys, welcome. Hey guys, welcome. Okay, I've had enough of this. Fuck you and fuck everything you stand for, you stupid feathered sack of shit. Not so powerful anymore without a beam rifle, are we, you stupid motherfucker? I think it's fair to say that over the years, we've all been triggered more than we'd like to admit by Jackal Snipers. They are the bane of every single Halo 2 Legendary run, and over the past 14 years, they've probably broken more controllers than any other factor imaginable. So, in celebration of Halo 2's 14th birthday, and therefore the 14th birthday of the cursed Jackal Snipers, we are diving into the lore behind one of gaming's most despised enemies. The Jackals are a weird species. Unlike the other members of the Covenant, they weren't exactly loyal to the Prophets or the Great Journey, but instead the resources and the money they were paid for fighting for them. They're very selfish creatures, motivated purely by their own desires more than anything else. This mindset helps explain why their species has a very strong history of piracy, from their early days to their spacefaring days. During their early days, the Jackals lived in matriarchal clans, scattered across their homeworld of Aeon. The planet was dominated by a large ocean right in the middle, which was rife with ship warfare between the clans. Jackal pirate ships would dominate the seas, raiding rival camps and pillaging their supplies. Eventually, after going through a gladiatorial era where rival clans would compete in tests of physical ability, these clans united and worked with one another to develop spacefaring technology. However, the piracy definitely didn't stop there. Instead, it just took to the stars. Clans of Jackals searched space for cargo ships, merchant ships, and any ship they could easily capture, before raiding and pillaging them, all for their own benefit. This became such a rampant issue that the Jackals' centralized government had to enlist specific commandos to fend off these pirates, but it never managed to curb the rampant piracy. The Jackal's questionable business practices means that they deal with species that people probably wouldn't expect. Even after the species became an official member of the Covenant, pirates were still doing trades with humans, rebels to be precise, but the only known case of this was carried out under secret orders by the Prophets. That said though, given their selfish nature and their history, it really isn't a far stretch to assume that there were more instances of this, driven only by selfish greed. This tendency quite possibly makes the Jackals the #1 source of items found on the black market. From contraband weapons to equipment to ships, if you're willing to buy, they don't give a shit who you are or what you believe, as long as they're getting paid. When the Covenant first encountered them in their home system, the Jackals put up a surprisingly strong resistance. Jackal mercenaries managed to overpower the vastly larger and stronger Covenant fleet, but over time it became clear that the Covenant's fleet was simply too big to be stopped, despite them only sending a small fleet, and that there was also money to be made by joining them. However, despite this, they maintained a relatively low rank in the Covenant hierarchy, ranking only just higher than the Grunts, a species the Jackals hated with a passion. This hate would eventually boil over into a full-on civil war on board High Charity, after rising Grunt birth rates caused the Jackals to be kicked out of their homes, interrupting the female's birthing season and causing a sharp rise in infant mortality rates. To exact their revenge, the Jackals poisoned the supplies of a drug that was used by the Grunts, which caused many of the males to become sterile. When the Covenant courts investigated this case, they ignored most of the evidence that implicated the Jackals as really to not piss them off. These events though eventually led to the infamous Grunt Rebellion, but trust me, that is another topic for an entirely different video. Due to their extreme agility, their hawkish eyesight, and hearing and smell, the Jackals fit in perfectly as the scouts and the snipers of the Covenant military. I guess the canon reason that they're so overpowered in Halo 2 specifically is that they can see, hear, and smell you from a mile off, which allows them to laser you around corners and kill you in milliseconds. They're also capable of fighting on the front lines when given an energy shield, but I've never really understood why, quite honestly. Considering they're built almost perfectly to be scouts, and frontline soldiers are built very differently to scouts. Maybe it's due to their razor-sharp talons and teeth that make them fairly adept at close range, but honestly, I've never really understood this. They're quite weak creatures overall. And let's be honest, even on Legendary, they really don't put up that much of a fight. However, after the fall of the Covenant, the Jackals didn't exactly become a disorganized mess unlike other species. Instead, they fell back into their old piratic ways. The Covenant's downfall created opportunities for trade with Covenant splinter groups. Abandoned Covenant bases that were chock full of forgotten Covenant equipment also proved lucrative, and I'd imagine that many of these weapons and vehicles and the like were either traded to other Covenant splinters or traded on the black market. That said though, not all the Jackals fell back into their traditions. Some of them remained fairly loyal to the Covenant, which led to them joining certain Covenant splinters, notably Julim Dharmas. However, one notable splinter group that lacked Jackals is the Banished. Now, this might seem pretty weird, considering the motto of the Banished is pretty much just fight for us and we'll pay you whatever the hell you want. But considering the Banished are very much anti-Covenant in their beliefs and also their origins, and that the Jackals sided with the Brutes and thus the Covenant during the Great Schism, I can see why there might be some bad blood there between the species and the factions. But hey, no Banished Jackals means no banished Jackal Snipers, so let's count our lucky stars and gardens that we never had to face any of those sons of bitches. All in all, the Jackal's ruthless selfishness combined with their acute sense of vision, hearing, smell, and their thin, yet incredibly agile bodies, for better or worse, make them the perfect marksman. They're hard to hit, they're hard to see, and even harder to predict. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if Jackal Snipers were used by the Prophets as part of some larger psyop to wear down the psyche of the UNSC. And I mean, if they were, let me tell you, it sure as shit worked. So, that covers the lore of the cursed Jackal Snipers. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're watching this far in and still haven't hit that precious subscribe button, then go on. You know you want to. You know you want to. Also, welcome to my new outro. This iconic fucking scene was made by the amazing Pixel Flare GFX. You can check out his Twitter in the description. For real though, how fucking sick does this look? Like, this is main menu tier quality right here, ladies and gents. This is main menu tier quality. Anyways, thank you to all of my patrons for continuing to support me over there. I really do appreciate it. Ardent, Tomahawk, Momo, Shikata, Mjolnir, Matthew, Pierre, Tony, Jim, Theo, Michael, Resnek, Jack Madden, Eric Brown, Sam Grafton, Bryn98, Hayden Woods, Matthew Brown, Gareth Davies, Renegade Ginger, fwimmygoat, and SargentSwords. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.